Hi, this is Dr. Chai from Back to Life Chiropractic. I want to share a story with you about a patient of mine that I've been adjusting for about 2 to 3 weeks now. She had been recommended to us by a couple of family members, and she was dealing with lower back pain, sciatic pain down to both legs, right hip pain, and so forth. A little bit about her backstory, first of all, though. She had been to a chiropractor years ago, and he got to the point where he was adjusting her, but just felt like he couldn't help her anymore. So she consulted with a neurosurgeon and orthopedic surgeon, and make a long story short, she ended up having spinal fusion surgery at L5 and S1. Now, this is back in 2009, she had the first surgery done, and in her words, she said the fusion didn't take. So she ended up going back in 2010 for a second surgery on the same joint. First of all, let me point out that that is not unusual. Don't let people try to tell you that spinal fusions are just simple routine procedures. Talk to anybody who has had one done, and unfortunately they're probably going back in for that same joint to be addressed again, or the joint above or below. You have to understand that when you lock up a spinal joint, your whole spine moves like a big chain, and when you lose mobility at one joint, that puts a lot of stress on the joints above and below, because now they're trying to make up for that lack of mobility. So let me swing the camera around. I'll show you where things stand at this point as far as this woman's x-rays. So these are films we took. This is L5 right here, the bottom lumbar spine. This is S1, the sacrum at the base of your spine. And you can see that they put these big screws in here and actually fused those two bones together. So how would you like to have these things in your back? Those are like lag screws that you would fasten your deck with or something. So just not a very pretty picture right there. Couple things I want to point out about that surgery. Like I said, not only are they not as routine as some people might have you believe, but oftentimes the recovery process can be a bear afterward. This woman is very, very active. She's physically fit and athletic, but it took her, she said, a good 4 to 5 years after that surgery in 2010 to really resume life at full speed again. She worked her butt off and started just walking for exercise again initially, and then resumed jogging and got to the point where she could run again and lift weights again and be as active as she felt necessary prior to seeing us. And then things started breaking down again. She was concerned that she was going to have to go back in for surgery, like I said, which is unfortunately pretty common, and she had been through it before. But fortunately, her story has a happy ending, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But what I want to also point out is that I get this question a lot, that and people say, Doc, I had surgery on my back, can I still be adjusted? Well, in most cases, the answer is yes, because when you're looking at one joint like this, now we can't adjust that joint again at L5 and S1, but what we're working on is the joint above it. We're working on her sacrum and sacroiliac joints and the rest of her lumbar spine and addressing things from that standpoint. So in most cases, if you've had prior back surgery, you can still receive chiropractic care. And not only can you, but you probably should, depending on what procedure you had done, to help you recover from that procedure and have it be a non-issue moving forward. So, like I said, this story has a happy ending. This woman actually, after just a couple of weeks of getting adjusted, is back to full speed again. She's running with no hip pain, lifting weights again, with no ill effects to her lower back. But one more thing I want to point out about this is it's not like prior to her initial surgery, she had been in constant excruciating pain for 10 years. You know, she was in pain off and on, and then eventually got to the point where she thought surgery was warranted. But although she was not in constant pain for that long, you better believe that her spine had been breaking down for 10 years plus. She just didn't feel the symptoms that whole time. So my point is, get your spine checked well before any symptoms like this develop. Or at the very least at the early onset of symptoms, because if we can find a spinal imbalance and weakness early on and get it corrected, we can hopefully prevent something like this from ever happening in your case. So if you have any questions at all, contact us through our website at backtolifechiro.com, or you can call us at 724-444-1960. Thanks. Have a great day.